I have been listening to all of these amazing women thinking, oh my gosh, what a hard act to follow. And funnily enough, that's actually one of the things that I'm going to be talking about at the summit. So I've been thinking there's so much that I could share because I, like Marie, like to talk. That actually started out as a hairdresser. So talking is not something that is difficult for me. However, speaking in front of amazing women and after amazing women brings up all the same things that it would bring up for anybody. And so my talk at the summit is going to be silencing that imposter. So like how to have the courage, how to find the courage to start over or start something new. And so I thought it was just fitting. I was going to share that a little bit later, but I thought it was fitting to start with that, to say, like, my heart is pounding after listening to you amazing women that have gone before me, and how funny that all the things, it doesn't matter how much work we do or how deep we go into getting to know ourselves, we are still human and we do still feel these things. So I really would like to just share a little bit about my story and how I got into the work that I do, what it means to be an identity and alignment coach, because there's a lot of different ways that, we can dig into ourselves, and there's a lot of different ways that we can become more self-aware. And one of the things that I believe is that over time, as we grow up, we are an accumulation of everything that we've been through. Our identity is something that is shaped through our experiences, the good and the bad. And what can happen, definitely in my story, is that we become who we think we need to be based on all the roles that we have as women. And we tend to abandon who we know ourselves to be as little girls or just over time in order to wear all those hats and be all the things that we need to be. And so I talk a lot about this abandoning of self, and it's not something that is necessarily in the negative, because to be a mum, we do have to put ourselves second at times, and we have to, nurture our families and our relationships. But we tend to put our dreams on the shelf. We tend to put some of those things that we wanted to do when we were younger aside in order to be the best mum. That was definitely for me. I always wanted to be a mum. I always wanted to be an amazing mum, and I threw myself into that role. And even though I did things along the way, alongside being a mum, I never really, I just became who I needed to be. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people listening that understand what I mean when I say that we abandon that sense of self. And it's not until we get older that we start to realize, like, we don't really know what we want. When we start to have time and our children grow up, I've actually got 7 children in my care, 3 of my own and 4 with my partner. And it's a busy time still, but they're older now and there's a lot more free time. And so when we get to that stage in life and we start to think about what we want for our next chapter, I've spoke to so many women and I say, what do you want? Like, what do you really want? Now that you have time, what do you really want? And I've had women in tears saying they don't actually know what they want. And it's really hard to answer that question because we haven't dusted those things off for so long. And so one of the things that I believe is that in order for us to really figure out what we want and answer that, we have to actually rediscover who we are now. So it's that identity piece. We have to re-identify with our sense of self based on everything that we've been through and everything that's shaped us. And that's a deep process. We've talked about the other women have talked about some of the ways that they go deep into that sense of rediscovery. And for me, it's a lot more about an unpacking or an unraveling of the self, the identities that we've had to be, the ones that we've taken on that aren't really us or not us anymore. We have to unpack that. We have to rescue the gold and the wisdom out of those experiences, because there's a lot of things that we as women have to go through and grow through. And there's a lot of transferable skills and wisdom and value in that. And the only way we can rescue those things is to actually go and unpack it. And the really beautiful thing about it is that we only get to repack the things that are actually really us, that are actually the things that really make us excited and proud of who we are. And we leave the other things, we let them go. There's a letting go process, a decluttering process as well. And guess what? That bag, we've been carrying all that stuff in, we didn't know was there. It gets really light, and it gets a lot easier for us to start to navigate our world and those around us. And so then the next piece is to then align ourselves, align that new identity or the real identity that we have, the real self, our true nature. We then get to make choices that are in alignment with that. We have this self-awareness around the things that are important to us and what we want to align with. And I like to call that gaining an internal compass. Funny little side note. I'm the worst person to leave out in the bush with no one directing me back. I would not get back. I was not born with an internal compass. I turned the map, I'm showing my age now. I had one of the Rapidexes back in the day before GPS. I don't know where north and east and west is. That's just me. I don't know if anyone else relates to that. But what I love about this work is that when we have this real understanding of self, we get to rediscover those things that are important. We now have our own true north. We have our own compass, our own points around the compass of those things that are important to us that we're constantly bringing more of and aligning ourselves with in our life. And so now you have an internal compass that's yours, that's uniquely you, that you can start to find your true north and find your vision, where you want to go, what you want to align with. And so that a little bit about what I do, just to take you to one particular moment in my story about why I do this work and how I ended up here. And it's literally a moment in time. And so I found myself in my 40s, really lost. Like, I had been a people pleaser my entire life. I never felt good enough for the people around me. That goes right back. Marie talked about inner child. I know exactly where the origin of that story is from. And I got to tell you that when you please everybody else and you put everybody else before you your entire life, that it gets really exhausting. Really exhausting. And when I got to 40, that is exactly how I felt every day. Didn't matter how much sleep I got, I felt exhausted. And so this one day I went for a run on the beach, and I actually hate running. I don't even know why I was running. I was running away from how I felt. And I was running down the beach. I was listening to Pink's new album at the time. It's called It Hurts to Be Human. I don't know if anyone's a Pink fan, but I had that blaring in my ears, and I was running down the beach, and the sun was fading over the horizon. I just kept running. My lungs were burning, had tears rolling down my eyes. And I just realized how unhappy I was in every area of my life. And I had no clue how I was going to fix it. And I just remember feeling like a failure, really. Like, I got to 40, I tried so hard my entire life to make everything perfect, to please everybody, and that I felt like that. Felt like I should just be happier, fitter, wealthier, more in love, all the things. And I just had this deep desire to feel free, free of that feeling. I really wanted to express myself freely and escape the shame and failure and regret. We talked about that before. I wanted to escape feeling, and that's why I was running, doing something I didn't really want to do. I just wanted to be accepted for me. And so the decision I made on that day and that run was to choose me. And I decided that I wasn't in a relationship that I was happy in. I decided on that very run that I was going to do something about that. And I took some space and I chose me for the first time in my entire life to try to figure out what I wanted. And it was this work that actually helped me figure that out. So the breakthrough that I had was that I instantly felt relief. I don't know if you've felt relief before, but it's a very powerful feeling to feel, just be able to breathe. And so I felt exposed, but I also felt free. And so what I learned was that I figured out what was important to me by having the courage to step into what we've been talking about this whole time, the fear. Like I stepped over the line and let go of the things that I needed to in order to create the space to just explore what I'm talking about. And I've done that. My life has done a complete 180 now. I'm here talking to you. I have an amazing relationship with an amazing man. We have a beautiful life. And I've been able to create that because I know who I am. I know what I want. More importantly, I know what I don't want. And I know what I want to align with. And you can spot it a mile away when you have that level of self-awareness. And the thing that's going to stop you is you. And so the hardest thing to do is to keep choosing yourself. And that's why I love this one of the reasons I love this platform and being around other women who are brave is that when you are like that, and when you're around people like that, when you're around people that are authentic, they give you permission to be the same. They give you permission to have courage. And so my business is called Freed to Be You, because I do believe that it's on the other side of that freeing yourself up, feeling freed, that you do get to be you. And we definitely get to be us in this beautiful community of women. And I'm so excited to be speaking on the summit. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story today.